So today I want to talk about something that we've kind of complained to Endemiro about before that we would like them to stop doing, and this is not making me happy. There's actually two complaints with this. One of them is my personal bugaboo, and one of them is something that the community has legitimately asked for in the West multiple times when they've pulled this before. One of them only addresses, only bothers me, and one of them is more of a wider issue. But both of them are brought up because a whole lot of people noticed last night when the chart for MopeMope Double 3 was shown. If you haven't looked through this, I'm going to go ahead and warn you right now. This entire video, all of me talking about this, is going to have very brief periods of flashing lights. And that is the issue that I want to raise here. They have, in the past, had a lot of issues with just deciding that it's funny to annoy the player by being very flashy. And if it were simply annoying, that would be legitimately quite funny. I think that's extremely funny. But this is past that. This is to the point where it's dangerous, right? You can actually seriously hurt people, and not even the people playing, right? Passersby, other watchers can have a serious medical condition and an immediate health risk just from a huge reaction just from looking at this. So, if you are sensitive to flashing lights, I'm going to go ahead and warn you there is going to be some over the next 15 seconds. So what we're looking at is sort of some troll stuff, this whole thing. Now, this is a normal chart. This continues for like 20 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and stop that just because I don't want to look at it anymore. But the whole remainder of the chart until it goes back to normal mode, if you know MopeMope, then you know about how long that's going to be. The whole chart just keeps doing this. It's repetitive. It's flashing, once a beat. Not once a beat, once every 2 beats. For 20 seconds. And I just have to say, this is not the first time this has happened. And they've been asked before by Western audiences. I know I've made a point of it. I know at the very least one, I think 2 other supporters in the US that have been on the support team for a very long time have made a huge issue out of why this is dangerous. I don't know if that's not a recognized health risk in the East, or if that's simply there aren't as many cases, or what. But you cannot do this. It's really bad for public arcades. You will get your game pulled from a public arcade for doing this. So the major issue is the health risk, right? My issue is now we're starting to add mods onto normal charts. This isn't mission mode, right? This isn't mission mode. This isn't what's the word I want to say here? Like full song. This isn't remix. You can get away with some nonsense and do some really silly stuff in the non-traditional length arcade kind of stuff, right? But for things that are likely to show up at major events, they'll be played a lot more. Just it's not good. You can't do this sort of thing. So if we look back, I've gone ahead and grabbed a few examples of other times they've done this. This is a mission that was made during. Once again, if you are not a fan of flashing lights, please do not look at the flashing lights as they will go for about 10 seconds. This is a mission that existed. What was it? This was on XX, right? There have been other versions of this mission, but this is the worst. It eventually just devolves into setting the entire thing to just flash at that speed, right? That is rapid cycling, extremely bright, and it comes with a loud sound in this case as I am hitting bombs to trigger that. And you have to. As a matter of fact, the only way you can pass this mission is to set off the flashing lights and the bombs. And this is not good. This is not healthy. This is a mission, and it is funny, so I'm willing to give them a pass on it, but I've always tried to warn people about the flashing lights on this, and it's something I'm becoming more sensitive to as I get older. Not the flashing lights, but the fact that there are more and more people now that are having issues with these sorts of things. More to my point, when we start to get around to when we start to get around to the idea of putting mods in normal charts, there is precedent for this, right? This is not the first time that they've straight up just forced a mod or forced a mission-only item into a normal chart. The most obvious one is hit D21, and I actually make fun of it. I actually make fun of it here, where I start laughing and go, what, we just put hearts in normal charts now? Now, nothing is actually going to happen during that period, and if they didn't go ahead and do that, then, you know, nothing would come of it. There are other really silly things that have occurred before where they kind of just like blink all the items out of existence, or you fill the whole screen up with arrows. But those are relatively fair and don't affect gameplay. Much like this, they happen in a place where you're not actually playing at all and there is no input that you could make. So I'm willing to give that a little bit of a pass. The other one that people bring up repeatedly, because it is the thing that immediately gets brought to mind by looking at this MopeMope chart, is of course Site de la Rue. Once again, there will be some flashing, although it's less bad now. This is a video of me playing it on rank, which forces the background on, and the background actually contributes heavily. So this one does not actually flash bright lights on the chart itself, it simply has the arrows flash in and out of existence. But you'll notice the background is also having that same strobe effect during this entire part. Sorry, that's not actually supposed to be playing sound, but fortunately Site de la Rue is not particularly dangerous. A lot of people mentioned that they felt like they had a headache from trying to play this chart repeatedly, although we can't really tell how much of that is literal and how much of that is simply people exaggerating because they were frustrated at the chart. I don't know, I don't want to know. I have not had any negative health effects out of any of this. But this, I thought, was fair but really pushing the line, right? Making the background so irritating that you don't want to play the song anymore is just about on the edge of what would be considered fair trolling of the player. And I think this is okay, but you know, really, really pushing the line. But you come back to what we're now talking about. This is just a thing that is the basis of the difficulty for the whole last 20 seconds of this chart. It's going to happen in just a second, and once again, please avert your eyes if you are super worried about flashing. I think it goes on a bass sound. There's like a boom, 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 and it just happens on that. I don't know. I want to know what y'all think about this. I've heard a lot of very spicy hot takes on Twitter about it. You know, on both sides, people that think it's funny and appropriate and just silly trolling, and people that think it's dangerous, and I would love to hear a little bit wider views on this. And just say, hey, is this okay? Because I feel pretty strongly that it's not, right? I think this is too much of a health risk for basically no reward. The funny here, to me, just does not outweigh the danger to people that you're going to have by putting this in a public location where it's not only a danger to players, it's a danger to other spectators, right? And for the people that then restream this, that make content, I also have the same problem, right? I'm not going to make content of this as much as other content because I don't want to expose people to this a whole lot, right? Every time I do it, I'm going to have, try to remember to have that warning. Do you want this allowed for tournaments, right? The difficulty of this is what? D21, D22, right? It's hard, but it's not like super hard. Maybe it's a little easier than that. I've only looked at the chart maybe 2-3 times, and I was more annoyed about this than I was actually trying to judge the difficulty of it. But do you want it in a random? Do you want to be at a place where you can go to a tournament and have somebody force you to play this? If you are the type of person that has trouble looking at flashing lights, is that, a fair level of competitiveness? I don't know how to feel about that. I would love to hear lots of people have various opinions that aren't immediately blaring it out on Twitter. I will try to get some better content out, but I know I really wanted to talk about this one while it was fresh in everyone's minds. Yeah, hit me back with it. Bye for now.